When you pick up a bottle of Coca-Cola and pour it or drink it, that intimacy in your hand, the way that it connects with your hand is it feels like at that moment that it's just you and the bottle.
Once sold almost exclusively at soda fountain counters, where trained employees mixed syrup and carbonated water to order for each individual customer, Coca-Cola by the 1910s was being transformed into something far more accessible.
Soda fountain wasn't just a place to go and refresh yourself because you were thirsty.
A bottled product that could be purchased, carried home, and consumed anywhere without a fountain, a counter, or a trained operator in sight. Delivering that convenience, reliability at scale through a network of independent local plants required a production process far more demanding than the simple glass bottle it produced ever suggested. This video will take you inside a Coca-Cola bottling plant in the 1910s to uncover exactly how each bottle was cleaned, filled, sealed, and distributed. While the system depended on reusable glass and human inspection at every stage, and how a regional franchise network quietly built one of the most recognized consumer products in history. Right now, let us explore this remarkable process together. Before a single bottle could be filled, the commercial structure that made large-scale bottling possible had to exist. Coca-Cola's transition from fountain drink to bottled product began in 1894, when Joseph Biedenham became the first person to bottle the drink commercially in Vicksburg, Mississippi. 5 years later, Benjamin Thomas and Joseph Whitehead secured the national bottling rights and established a franchise model that divided territorial rights among independent local operators. Under this system, each franchised bottler purchased the right to produce and sell Coca-Cola within a defined geographic territory, built and operated their own plant, and took full financial responsibility for their operation. The Coca-Cola Company in Atlanta supplied the syrup and enforced production standards, but did not own or operate the local plants directly. By 1920, this franchise system had expanded to more than 1,200 bottling operations across the United States, a network built almost entirely through private investment by independent local business people. A typical Coca-Cola bottling plant of the 1910s occupied a single multi-room industrial building, sized according to the volume its territory required. Large urban plants employed several dozen workers and operated multiple filling lines simultaneously. Smaller regional plants ran single lines with reduced workforces, with output varying significantly depending on the size and capacity of each individual operation. Each plant was organized around the linear flow of the bottle through the production process. Returned empty bottles entered at one end of the building. Finished, filled, and sealed bottles exited at the other. Between those 2 points, every room and every piece of equipment served a specific function: sorting, washing, syrup preparation, carbonation, filling, capping, inspection, and packing. The bottling equipment available at this period was largely semi-automatic, meaning human operators were required at nearly every station to feed, monitor, adjust, and remove bottles as each machine performed its specific task. The production cycle for each bottle of Coca-Cola in the 1910s did not begin with new glass. It began with returned glass. Bottles carried a deposit value that incentivized customers to return empties to the store where they had purchased them. Horse-drawn delivery wagons, and in some territories, early motor trucks collected wooden crates of returned bottles from retail accounts on regular routes and brought them back to the bottling plant for reprocessing. Return bottles arrived in variable condition: dusty, coated in dried syrup residue, and occasionally damaged during handling. The first stage was manual sorting and initial inspection, during which workers examined each bottle for chips, cracks, and structural damage. Chip bottle lips were particularly important to identify, as a damaged sealing surface would prevent the crown cap from forming an airtight seal during capping. Bottles failing inspection were removed and returned to the glass supplier. Only structurally sound bottles advanced to washing, beginning the cleaning process that would prepare each return bottle for another complete production cycle. Bottles passing the initial inspection entered the washing area, where a multi-stage cleaning process removes syrup residue, dirt, and biological contamination accumulated during the return cycle. Workers pre-soaked bottles in hot water baths to soften dried deposits before feeding them into mechanical bottle washing machines. These machines circulated bottles through chambers containing hot water and alkaline cleaning solution, with internal brushing mechanisms scrubbing interior surfaces at each stage. Following the alkaline wash, bottles pass through multiple freshwater rinse stages to remove all cleaning solution residue. Thorough rinsing was essential. Any alkaline solution remaining inside the bottle would interact with the carbonated drink during filling, affecting both flavor and carbonation stability. After mechanical washing, each bottle underwent a final visual inspection, with workers holding bottles against a bright light source and rotating them slowly to examine interior and exterior surfaces. Interestingly, this human inspection stage was considered more reliable than any mechanical check available at the time and remained standard practice well into later decades. Bottles revealing contamination or previously undetected cracks were rejected at this point and returned to the beginning of the cycle. While bottles moved through the washing line, a separate area of the plant handled preparation of the drink itself. Coca-Cola syrup arrived already prepared and sealed, shipping directly from the company's facilities in Atlanta. Local plants did not produce syrup or have access to its formulation. They received it as a finished ingredient and combined it with locally prepared carbonated water in precisely controlled proportions. Water preparation began with filtration to remove particulates and impurities from the local supply. Filtered water was then chilled before entering the carbonated equipment, where carbon dioxide gas was forced into the water under pressure. Chilling the water before carbonation was essential. Cold water absorbs carbon dioxide significantly more efficiently than warm water. An adequate carbonation produced a flat product that did not meet consistency standards. Measured quantities of syrup and carbonated water were then combined at the filling station in a ratio specified by the Coca-Cola company. Even small variations in that ratio affected flavor noticeably, making careful measurement essential at every filling cycle. One fascinating detail is that the syrup formula never left Atlanta. Local plants worked only with finished syrup as a supplied ingredient, and deliberate arrangement that kept the formulation secure while ensuring every franchised plant produced a consistent and recognizable product regardless of location. Clean, inspected bottles advanced to the filling machines, where workers fed them into position beneath semi-automatic filling heads. Each head dispensed a measured volume of the combined syrup and carbonated water mixture under controlled pressure conditions designed to minimize foaming. Operators monitored fill levels, adjusted pressure, and removed any bottles that foamed excessively or received an incorrect fill volume. Immediately after filling, each bottle moved to the capping station, where crown cork caps, metal caps with corrugated edges, and cork-lined interior seals were pressed firmly onto the bottle lip. The crown cap, patented in 1892 by William Painter, had become the standard closure for carbonated beverages by the 1910s, replacing the earlier Hutchison stopper previously used on Coca-Cola bottles. A correctly applied crown cap formed an airtight seal capable of retaining carbonation through the full distribution period before the bottle reached the consumer. A misapplied cap allowed carbonation to escape within hours, producing a flat product that represented a direct financial loss for the plant, a fact that kept operators checking cap seating on every bottle, which sounds straightforward until one considers that a busy plant processed thousands of bottles per shift without pause. Filled and capped bottles underwent a final inspection before leaving the production area. Workers examined each bottle for correct fill level, proper cap seating, and any contamination visible through the glass. Bottles failing this review were removed, their contents discarded, and the bottles returned to the washing line for reprocessing. Only bottles meeting the full inspection standard advanced to packing. Approved bottles were loaded by hand into wooden crates, standardized to hold 24 bottles each. The wooden crate was the standard distribution unit throughout this period. Durable enough to survive repeated handling, stackable for efficient loading, and designed to be returned along with empty bottles at the end of each delivery route, completing the reuse cycle that kept glass costs manageable across the entire system. Loaded crates moved to the plant's loading dock, where delivery routes were organized by territory and retail account. Horse-drawn wagons handled most routes through the 1910s, with early motor trucks beginning to supplement them in larger markets. Drivers delivered filled crates to grocery stores, restaurants, and retail accounts while simultaneously collecting empty crates for return to the plant, completing the cycle that would begin again the following morning. By 1920, the franchise system had expanded to more than 1,200 bottling operations, collectively producing hundreds of millions of bottles annually. Each had passed through the same sequence: returned, washed, inspected, filled, capped, inspected again, packed, and delivered, carried out largely by hand, without the automated systems that would arrive in later decades. The contour bottle, introduced in 1916, designed to be recognizable by shape alone even in the dark, became the physical symbol of that entire system. A glass container so distinctive it required no label to identify, which was fortunate because the workers packing crates at the end of each shift had handled enough of them to last a lifetime.